You step outside into the quiet of your garden, your balcony, your driveway, or the little path behind your home. The morning feels normal. The air is still. Somewhere nearby, a robin calls. A crow shifts on a roof, and a few pigeons move across the ground like shadows with feathers. But then you notice one. The same pigeon. It is standing apart from the others. The flock keeps pecking, shuffling, scattering at every sound. But this one pauses. It turns its head. One bright eye fixes on you. And for a second, the feeling is strange. Not dangerous, not loud, just personal. You take one step, and it does not fly. You turn away, and it still watches. You come back tomorrow, and somehow, it is there again. So now the question begins to crawl into your mind. Is this pigeon returning for food, or has it remembered you? At first, you'd tell yourself it is nothing. Pigeons are everywhere. On roofs, fences, garden walls, sidewalks, train stations, bird tables, balconies, and quiet corners of parks. They are so common that most people stop seeing them. They become part of the background, like leaves moving in the wind. But this one does not feel like background. You notice it near the same place again, maybe beside the feeder, maybe on the fence outside your kitchen window, maybe on the same patch of paving where sunlight hits in the afternoon. It does not rush toward you like a pet. It does not fully trust you. It keeps its distance, but it stays close enough to watch. And slowly, the pattern becomes harder to ignore. When you open the door, it looks up. When you walk across the garden, it shifts but does not leave. When someone else appears, it reacts differently. That is when the ordinary backyard begins to feel like a mystery. Because maybe you have not just been watching a pigeon. Maybe the pigeon has been watching you. The first sign is small. You step outside, and the pigeon is already there, walking in that familiar way, head bobbing, feet tapping softly across the ground. It pecks once, then looks up, pecks again, then looks up again. Most birds live inside a constant storm of decisions. A robin on the lawn, a blue tit in a hedge, a chickadee at a feeder, or a pigeon on a garden path must always ask the same silent question. Is this safe? So when you move, the pigeon reads you. Not like a human reads words, but like a survivor reads danger. It watches your shoulders, your speed, your hands, the direction of your eyes. If you walk straight toward it, that means one thing. If you move slowly and look away, that means another. To you, it is just a normal step. To the pigeon, it is information, and then something changes. The other birds lift and scatter, but this one stays. It does not fully trust you, not yet. But it no longer sees you as immediate danger. That is the first invisible doorway. Because once a pigeon decides you are not a threat, something stranger begins to happen. After a few days, you begin to notice timing. The pigeon is not just there randomly. It appears when you usually come outside. It waits near the feeder before you refill it. It sits on the wall before the garden becomes quiet. It lands near the driveway when your footsteps or your door sound familiar. You may not think your life has a pattern, but to a bird, it does. The time you open the curtains, the moment you carry seed outside, the sound of your back door, the place where crumbs sometimes fall, the quiet corner where no one chases birds away. All of this becomes part of the pigeon's world. Pigeons survive by remembering what matters. A safe ledge, a dangerous dog, a person who throws stones, a person who moves gently, a garden where water appears, a face that never brings harm. And this is where the feeling becomes unsettling. Because the pigeon may understand your routine before you do. You step outside thinking you are beginning your day, but the bird may have already been waiting for that exact moment. It may have watched the door, the window, the path, the shape of your movement, and now it is not just returning to a place. But the real shock comes when you realize it may not just remember the place, it may remember your face. One day, you test it without meaning to. You step outside wearing different clothes, maybe a hood, a jacket, a cap, or something you do not usually wear. You expect the pigeon to treat you like a stranger, but it does not. It pauses, studies you, then gives that same careful approach. Not too close, not foolish, just close enough to show that something about you is known. Then another person comes into the same space, And the pigeon reacts differently. It backs away. It lifts its wings slightly. It puts more distance between itself and them. That is when the mystery becomes sharper. Pigeons are visual creatures. Their world is built from shapes, colors, movement, distance, and detail. They notice small differences that humans often miss. They can connect a certain kind of face, body movement, and behavior with safety or danger. To you, many pigeons may look almost the same, but to the pigeon, you may not look the same as everyone else. That reverses the whole story. Because humans like to believe they are the only observers. You stand by the window and watch birds in your yard. You notice the cardinal, the robin, the crow, the magpie, the wood pigeon, the kookaburra, the blue jay, but all this time, the birds may be building memories of you too. And if it remembers your face, then every visit may be a decision, not an accident. There is nothing magical about the pigeon's return, but that almost makes it more powerful. It comes back because something about you has become useful, safe, or meaningful in its small, dangerous world. Maybe you once scattered seed. Maybe you filled a bird bath. Maybe you dropped crumbs without thinking. Maybe you simply walked past without chasing it away. For a wild bird, calmness can become a gift. Every backyard bird is measuring risk. A crow on a fence, a house sparrow under a table, a mourning dove near a feeder, or a rainbow lorikeet in an Australian garden must decide whether to stay or vanish. A pigeon does the same. It remembers where food appears. It remembers where water gathers. It remembers which humans move gently and which humans bring fear. Returning is not stupidity. It is not laziness. It is survival intelligence. But the emotional part is harder to explain, because when the same pigeon keeps coming back, you stop seeing it as just another bird. You begin to feel chosen, even if the reason began with food or safety. Maybe the pigeon does not love the way humans love, but it may remember the feeling of safety around you. And sometimes, to a wild creature, safety is everything. But survival alone does not explain the way it watches you when nothing is being offered. Watch closely the next time it approaches. It does not simply walk forward. It tests the space between you. A few steps closer. Stop. Head tilt. One eye on your hands. One quick peck at the ground. Then another pause. If you move suddenly, it retreats. If you stay calm, it returns. This is not random nervousness. This is a silent conversation. The pigeon is asking questions without sound. Are you still safe? Are your hands dangerous? Are your feet coming closer? Are your eyes fixed on me? Has the mood changed? And you are answering without knowing it. Your stillness says one thing. Your sudden movement says another. Your patience becomes a signal. Your voice, your breathing, even the way you turn your body can shape the bird's decision. That is what makes trust with backyard birds feel so fragile and strange. A robin may come closer while you dig soil. A magpie may remember the person who never harmed it. A chickadee may return to a familiar feeder. A pigeon may stand just beyond reach, watching like a small gray witness. It is not tame in a simple way. It is choosing trust 1 second at a time. And that makes the moment feel almost haunting. And then comes the moment that feels less like instinct and more like recognition. The strongest moment comes when you are not alone. Maybe you are standing near other people on a path. Maybe family members are in the garden. Maybe strangers pass by near the park edge. There is movement everywhere. And still the pigeon turns toward you. It does not rush at the nearest person. It does not treat every human the same. It circles, pauses, and comes closer to the spot where you are standing. That feeling can be strangely emotional, because wild animals do not owe humans attention. A bird can leave at any second. It can lift into the air and disappear over rooftops, trees, chimneys, fences, and wires. But this one stays. This one seems to choose the familiar shape in the crowd. The reason may be memory. It may know your face, your walk, your routine, your calmness, your garden, your voice, or the place where you usually stand. It may have learned that you are not danger. But even when you understand the reason, the feeling remains mysterious. Because being remembered by a wild bird changes the way you see yourself. It means something you did stayed inside another living mind. A small act, a repeated moment, a pattern of kindness or peace. The pigeon is no longer background. It has become a witness. But the deepest mystery is not that it finds you, it is what it may know about you from watching. Your backyard is not as private as it feels. Every fence, roof, branch, aerial, windowsill, and garden wall can become an observation post. Birds are watching the world with a seriousness humans often miss. The crow knows when the street becomes quiet. The robin knows when soil is being turned. The blue jay knows where food appears. The magpie knows which faces bring trouble. The cockatoo knows which balcony has attention. The starling knows when the flock should lift. And the pigeon knows more than people give it credit for. It sees when you leave. It sees when you return. It learns where you stand, where you sit, how fast you move, and what happens after you appear. To humans, the pigeon may seem ordinary because it does not sing like a robin, flash like a goldfinch, or laugh like a kookaburra. But ordinary does not mean simple. A pigeon is a creature of memory, a survivor of human spaces, a quiet collector of patterns, and that changes the whole feeling of the garden. You are not just watching birds through the window. The birds are watching you through the leaves, from the roofline, from the path, from the wire above your head. And once you understand that, the pigeon at your door no longer feels ordinary. After a while, something unexpected happens. You start looking for the pigeon too. At first, it watched you. Then, without noticing the exact moment it changed, you began watching for it. You glance toward the fence. You check the path. You look at the roofline. You wonder if the same bird will appear today. That is how attachment begins. Not with one dramatic event, but with repetition. The same robin on the lawn, the same cardinal at the feeder, the same blackbird near the hedge, the same magpie on the fence, the same pigeon at the window, returning like a quiet question. And suddenly, a bird that most people ignore becomes part of your day. It may not understand your name. It may not understand your worries, your memories, or the private thoughts you carry when you step outside. But it may know your presence. It may know your rhythm. It may know that when you appear, the world does not become dangerous. That is not a small thing. To be remembered by nature is a strange kind of comfort. Because in a fast, noisy world, the pigeon's return feels like proof that small moments matter. The soft movement, the patient distance, the food offered once, the fear you did not create. Maybe we will never fully know what a pigeon feels when it sees a familiar human. But we can know this. Your actions can live inside the memory of a bird. So the next time it comes back, the real question may not be why it remembers you, but why you feel something when it does. So imagine the scene one last time. The garden is quiet. The balcony rail is still. The driveway is empty. Somewhere in the distance, a crow calls. A sparrow flickers through a hedge, and the light changes across the ground. Then the pigeon appears again. No dramatic entrance, no loud message, just a soft landing, a watchful pause, and that familiar tilt of the head. This time, you see it differently. Not as a dirty city bird, not as background movement, not as something ordinary. You see a survivor with memory, a small intelligence wrapped in feathers, a bird that may carry a map of streets, gardens, rooftops, dangers, safe places, and familiar human faces. And somewhere in that hidden map, there may be a place for you. Maybe it does not understand you the way another person would, but maybe it remembers your calmness, your routine, your kindness, your face. That is the mystery of backyard birds. They are not just decorations in our world. They are watching, learning, choosing, and remembering far more than we realize. So if a pigeon, robin, crow, magpie, cardinal, blue jay, kookaburra, or any garden bird has ever seemed to recognize you, come back to you, or watch you in a way you could not explain, share your story in the comments. Because maybe the birds in your garden are not just visiting your world. Maybe they have been quietly letting you into theirs.